Hello once again, welcome to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka. With me as always, my co-host, the Merkso, Mike Merkel.
Yes.
Standing in once again for the brain, might as well just become regular on the show, our resident NBA insider, Kyle Budzanowski.
That hurt.
You okay?
Yeah.
Alright, guys, we have so much to go over today. We're going to be talking AEW's Double or Nothing show. We're going to compare it to WWE's Money in the Bank show and see how much better AEW was or wasn't, depending on your hot takes. I say that in jest. We're going to talk about Juwan Howard as the new Michigan basketball coach. We got some NBA playoff talk, and we're going to be talking at the end some Lions contract possible extension issues.
We get to talk about how wrong you were about the NBA playoffs.
I know, right? No kidding, right?
All right,
I was call the show. Rob makes a
a
comment and it goes the complete opposite way. It's kind of how things work. Lions are going 0-16. See that? Reverse psychiatry.
They'll still go in 6. Yeah, they'll still go in 6.
And that's why you're off the show. That's why, right there.
Okay, You're not going to be able to get out.
All right, let's just jump right in, though. Heavy wrestling, the top half of the show today. Double or Nothing happened. AEW's first official show. We saw the debut of the new championship. We saw, their production value, which looked really nice. Just give me, Mike, I'm going to start with you. Give me your favorite match, and then also just give me your overall thoughts on the show.
Ooh, okay. I know where we're going.
We're not gonna go results here fully, just because if you haven't seen the show, you need to go watch the show. Go pay the $50 and watch the show.
If you're gonna, yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah. If you're gonna go for one match, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros is my recommendation for best match of the night, probably.
For sure.
Not to spill results or anything for you.
Yeah.
But I think a very good underrated matchup, not really underrated, was Cody and Dustin.
Right, that was the storytelling.
Yeah, that was like the more storytelling match, but I think the Bucks and Lucha Bros was the best match overall.
Yeah.
As a whole card itself, I thought top to bottom it wasn't bad. I think there were a lot of highs. Then there were some lows that I'm actually nervous about because when you compare it to WWE shows, they have a similar feel, except they have more lows than highs. I feel like AEW had more highs.
Right. I think what AEW is trying to do is they're trying to appeal to a large audience. Right. They're trying to give a mixture of everything. Right. Like for us, that 6-women tag match. Right. We kind of threw that to the side, right? Yeah. But for some people, that may be part. They want to see a strong women's division, right? Yeah. Maybe that's not our cup of tea necessarily. I do agree with you that there were some matches that kind of lulled a little bit. Like I thought the tag match between Jack Evans and Helico and
the Best Friends.
I thought that match did not deliver. With the amount of talent that was in that match, I thought that could deliver more. I want to ask you though. You're not the biggest wrestling fan here, especially on the show, but you sat with us, you watched the show through and through. Just give me your thoughts. Which match did you enjoy the most? And if you can, and then also just give me your thoughts on the show as a whole. You watched wrestling before, obviously, but I mean, did you like this show? Did you like the presentation? Give me your initial thoughts as a casual, more lax wrestling fan than most.
So coming into the show, I probably haven't watched any type of wrestling in a good 3 years.
Yeah.
But coming into the show, I was really clueless, honestly. But after I asked a lot of questions, obviously, but after understanding what's kind of going on, who these people are, it makes it a lot interesting knowing the stories and knowing what the stakes are. Yeah. Like my favorite one was obviously Cody versus
Dustin. Right?
Cody and Dustin, and I think I enjoyed it so much as a casual fan, just for just with the story and what the meaning behind it and how it ended, and it really made me feel like dang, this could really, especially like you said with the production value, it really looks like something that could go up against WWE. Me and Michael would watch WWE for years and years and years.
Right.
And it just looked like I don't know what would be able to beat this. The fans of production.
Well, it's a machine, right? Yeah. It's a machine for sure. Absolutely.
I think the crazy part was during the show, you're like, is this a WWE event?
Right, exactly.
Or a different event?
And be able to understand the differentiation.
Yeah, but not being, as a casual fan, not knowing the difference means that they're doing a good job at making it almost look like a WWE event.
Well, and here's the thing too, right? You can have the best product in the world, but if you can't produce it and you can't show it off in a particular way, right? You're dead before you even begin. I was very happy with their set. Pyro's always nice for those fans who continue to harp on that. Yeah. Like I said, I really enjoyed the Lucha Bros Young Bucks match. I really like Cody and Dustin. I mean, all three of those top tier matches were really good. I really enjoyed the opening 6-man tag between SCU and Broken Hearts. I thought that match was a great way to start the show. on pay-per-view. Told a nice little story there, got SCU a win, showed off the guys that maybe a lot of North American fans don't even know who those guys were. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to kind of get them a showcase. So are we all agreeing that the show lived up to the hype?
Yes and no to me. Mm-hmm. I would say yes to this card was a 3-match card for me, and if you look at it through that lens, it delivered. Mm-hmm. But I think as a totality of a show, I'd probably give it around like a B minus range. Okay. Because I do think, for me personally, some like that 6-woman tag or the best friends match that could have been amazing, kind of like almost brought it down for me a little bit.
There was a big lull there in the middle of the show there for sure.
It was almost like how the G1 show was, where like they had all this expectation, but those first like 4 matches were kind of like getting off to a slow start, like way too slow for me, which brought the show down a little bit for me. But it definitely kicked up at the end, which probably gives it around a B range for me.
Right. Kyle, you have a grade for it?
Man, I didn't really know what the hype was.
Right. Yeah. Just give me a grade though.
Yeah,
Mike's giving it a B. Like, would you give it B plus, A minus, C? What are you thinking?
Yeah, just coming in as a casual fan, I'd definitely probably give it a B plus.
Yeah.
Which there could have been, obviously, except for the lull moment, there could have been a lot more high points.
Yeah.
But overall, I think as a big whole, it was pretty good for the first show.
Okay, so as a casual fan for you then, would you be willing to go watch another one of these?
Definitely, yeah, I would definitely.
So there you go, and that's the goal.
That's what
right?
we're looking for.
And that's the accomplishment, right? I will say this though. One thing, and I think, Mike, you hit on this a little bit before, where I agree with you that the show was definitely a 3-match card, right? I'm agreeing with you on that. But in a certain aspect, this card, and it's getting tons of rave reviews online, rightfully so. However, this card could have sucked. These matches could have sucked. And they would still be getting good reviews. Let's put a little asterisk next to this. And I know we're not trying to be like the one group of people who go against the grain here. It's not like we're pro WWE or anything like that. But it's more the fact that the excitement around it, the fact that it's different. I mentioned on the show a couple weeks ago where sometimes different is just better just because it's different, right? This was different, okay? No doubt about that. So because of that, they're already going in golden, basically, right? They would have had to done a lot of things wrong last night, or I guess as you guys were hearing this 2 days ago, where it could have been like, oh, this was a disaster, right? They would have had to do quite a bit to really ruin this show.
I feel like NXT's in that same area now. Yes. So you're just expecting A shows.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of mistakes. Mm-hmm. So you're almost free to do what you want. Because if you make a mistake in a match, there's 5 matches. If you make a mistake in one match, you make up for it for the other 4. Everyone's like, what a great show. Even if it wasn't the best show you've ever seen.
Exactly.
Where now the main roster, as we're going to talk about in a minute, they're not having this great luck and great run of shows. So now it's like, you're almost starting off like, oh, this is going to suck.
Right.
It's hard to get out of that hole.
Yes, for sure. Like I said, I do think they took a great first step, maybe even a couple steps. Some shots were fired. On Saturday, I think that there was some great surprises. The Super Smash Bros. Debuted, which fantastic. If you don't know who they are, you should look them up. Jon Moxley, we speculated forever. He's in AEW. We're really interested to see his impact. Right? These aren't spoilers, folks. This is just stuff that people are reporting.
AEW tweeted when the Super Smash Bros. Came out, who are these guys? With a big question mark. Right, exactly. And I literally go, you don't know who they are?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So that was funny.
So lots of great talent coming your way, right? I'm really interested to see how the show is going to look, and we'll talk about that in great depth when they actually debut and premiere and everything. Yeah. Very excited for that. Excited. Just real quick thought before we move on to WWE. Thoughts on the title itself, the actual AEW Championship? We talked about it a little bit last night, but just get it on the record, I guess.
Get it on the record?
Yeah.
I think it looks good. Yeah. I mean, what I like about it is it's different from everything else in every other sports entertainment realm right now. Yeah. You could have brought out something that looked like the World Heavyweight title and just put AEW in the middle or something like TNA does and stuff. All their titles look the same. Yeah. But this one looks completely different. It's unique to them. Yeah. And if all their titles look like that, it's going to make the show look very unique.
Yes.
And our stuff's custom made almost.
Just for people's reference too, if you are a longtime wrestling fan, you know the history. The title looks there's a lot of influence from the old Mid-South North American Championship back in the 70s and 80s. So that's kind of where they're getting it from. Kind of just the thought on the actual belt itself. A lot of belt marks out there listen to the show. So, and I am one of them where I really enjoy the designs and everything. So give me just your thoughts on the belt itself, before we switch topics.
So being obviously a casual fan, I thought it looked very shiny and cool, and there was a lot of jewels and it sparkled. And so I was.
And it sparkled.
Yeah, I was pretty fascinated. There's only one that I thought is better. I think it's one of the best, but there's only one that's better.
Yeah.
It's this one.
Yeah, I like that. That's right.
And that's all I gotta say.
That's right. Exactly. That's why I like. That's why Kyle's on the show. That's why he's back. Welcome back. All right. All right. Let's shift now from AEW to a second to the other promotion. I can't believe we're saying it in that way, but WWE ran Money in the Bank 2 weeks ago or last week, whatever, and show got mixed results, right?
Yes.
I think they did some good things. I think they did some bad things. Now, I'm not going to go through every match. We don't need to do that. No. But I do want to talk about specifically both the ladder matches because that's really the money. Okay. That's really the point that I really want to hammer home here. Thoughts? Obviously, Kyle, you weren't with us, so I'm just going to direct this to you, Mike. Bayley wins Money in the Bank for the women's and then cashes in later the night to win SmackDown Women's Championship, right? And then we got Brock Lesnar as the surprise entrant. Coming in at the last second, basically literally just walking up and grabbing the case and walking out of the ring.
Yes.
Thoughts on the winners of the Money in the Bank this year?
Just a fun point to say before I start talking about this.
Yeah.
I heard that there's a rumor going around that Ali was told that he was going to win the match.
So Other people were told that Ali was.
Oh, really?
Ali was the only one told that. Yeah, Brock's gonna come out and.
Oh, really? Okay, because I thought when
none of the other everybody else said that. Yeah,
I thought that because he was about to go grab it, and then Lesnar came out, and his face. And after I heard that, I was like, wow, that really correlates.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
He probably had no idea he was coming out and stuff. That would be awesome. But as a card as a whole, I thought the ladder matches were actually very good.
Yeah.
I thought the men's one really lived up for the guys that they had in there. There are a lot of Balor.
It was a better Money in the Bank.
I don't know how Balor's not dead right now because he took probably 3 of the most gruesome spots I've seen in a really long time. The guys' one was awesome. The female one, I feel like there's just a problem with the females running a Money in the Bank ladder match.
It's hard.
And it's almost like that instead of saying a lot like Hell in a Cell or Royal Rumble and all this stuff, where they're just not
I think it's hard to garner intensity in that way, right? To be creative and have those things where you have those massive spots because it just doesn't look the same. Yeah. Nothing on them. They gave it their best, right? They still took some pretty good bumps, but I agree with you. I think it's just harder to navigate that.
Yeah, there's one point where they're about to smash, I think Naomi with a ladder, but they stood there and they're like, "Are you ready? Ready? Go!" And then they came at her and then she did the split, but it looked like everyone had set up and go.
Okay, all right, stop. Now go.
Yeah, when you're in the guys just kind of go full force at it, and it just kind of is a thing.
For sure. So thoughts on Bayley winning Women's Money in the Bank?
I thought it was I thought she was going to win. If we did a prediction show, I would have picked her to win. I would not have picked her to actually cash in on the same night.
Just because of what last year had?
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't think they were going to do 2 years in a row the same thing. I actually thought the Becky Lynch thing would have been switched. I thought that Lacey Evans was going to win and Charlotte was going to lose.
Yeah.
But
the way they did it, I think it makes sense. Right, for sure. Thoughts on Brock winning Money in the Bank?
I'm not a big fan, and if Rollins loses the title to him, I will cancel the subscription probably.
Really? Yeah. Well, you're that upset about it. Yeah.
I mean,
I agree. I mean,
it's just one of those things. Why is he doing it?
Right. Well, here's the problem. I think there's twofold. I think when you read reports, right, and obviously maybe some of this is leaked, some of this is opinion based, right? But when you read reports that WWE is going to take the Money in the Bank seriously again, right? Because for the past couple of years it's been useless. Yeah. Braun, Baron Corbin, it just hasn't been what it used to be. And so by them coming out and saying, or at least being reported that, whoever wins the Money in the Bank this year, we're gonna strap a rocket to him and he's gonna become a top guy. So to do that, and you had a lot of talent in that match.
Yeah.
To then just have Brock come out and win it, he's already a top guy. And if reports are true that he's just going to cash in and he's just going to face whoever at this Crown Jewel or whatever, Super Showdown, what the hell you want to call it, it's all stupid. Whatever you want to call that against Rollins, then you've wasted yet again another year of this thing where in my opinion, the Money in the Bank is one of the more, it's like the Royal Rumble. You don't know who's going to win, really, right? There's theoretically there's an endless amount of possibilities, and the guy you go with, it's like, all right, this is going to be the new guy, right? This is the guy they're going to try to elevate to that spot. You know what I mean? Whether it was McIntyre, whether it was Ricochet, whether it was Andrade, whoever, I don't care. point is that you had a lot of talent in that ring that could have definitely used the Money in the Bank as a launch point for them to get into that main event scene where you are desperately lacking main event talent right now, and instead you gave it to a guy who's been champion for the past 5 years.
Yeah, my thing is, I just get annoyed because I look into it, and I'm just like, you could, like, let me think of how I'm going to say this before I get really angry. The last couple years, they've really, like, the guy who wins it literally just cashes in, like, the night after.
Yeah.
Like, the last one that actually won it did, like, Rollins held it for, like, 9 months, waited till WrestleMania and cashed in a great moment. That was the last, like, great cash-in that ever happened. Like, now it's, like, you know, Corbin cashed in 3 days later on SmackDown, or Braun cashed in the next pay-per-view, or it's almost like they don't care about it, so they're like, we have to do this Money in the Bank thing, so we're just going to do it, but whoever wins it is just going to cash in.
We're just going to get rid of it. I know,
we're just going to get rid of it right away.
And it's such a valuable
thing where, like, you could keep, like, the champions fighting somebody, but they have to keep looking over their shoulder every 5 seconds because someone could be coming down.
It's just, if nothing else, it's the surprise. It's all it is it's just like anytime the title is defended, or that champion fights on the show, especially with this whole wildcard thing where you got champions going everywhere, you got everybody going everywhere, you literally never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, which this could make the wild card interesting if it was used right, because if McIntyre wins it, he just shows up randomly on both shows, and he's like, I could cash in right now if I wanted to, kind of thing. Like, you're like, you never know what's going to happen.
I agree.
Now with him just, like, Bayley cashing on the night of, and then you have Lesnar cashing at Super Showdown, now you don't even have that fear of that as a champion.
Alright, let's just shift. We're going to be here forever if we keep talking about this show. We'll talk more after the Super Showdown show and see if it was worth it. But I want to talk a little bit, too, about this 24/7 championship that they debuted the night after Money in the Bank. Now, Kyle, for you who are not aware, right, WWE came out with this rule, right? It's a new championship. Basically, it's on the line all the time. So no matter where you're at, as long as there's referees present, you can get pinned and beat, and someone else can beat you for the title.
So you could be at, like, McDonald's.
Right, ordering a sandwich, I come in, Mike's my referee, I roll you up for a 1, 2, 3, I'm the 24/7 champion now. That's supposed to be the thing, right? And the logic behind it, obviously, is to increase the time and to give more meaning to the segments, maybe for some lower card guys. It just adds some more comedic value. It makes you want to watch possibly, in between where you're not changing the channel so much. It's like, okay, well, there's our truth, he's champion, and so on and so forth. But I just want to get your thoughts, guys, not on the actual championship itself, because as contrast to the AEW championship, this thing is uglier than sin. So because of that, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, pretty much. So I do want to talk about, though, just the concept about it. Mike, just give me your thoughts on the 24/7 championship. I mean, don't take the design portion out of it. You can call it whatever the hell you want, but the thought of, okay, championship's on the line again no matter what. Similar to what the hardcore title was.
I like it, except when they were explaining it, it was really confusing.
And convoluted.
Because like they were like, oh, it's going to be on Raw, but it's only going to be in the third hour. But I'm like, if it's 24/7, it could be in the first 2 hours.
Right.
So I don't know why that was said.
Right.
He's like, yeah, sometimes it might not be on SmackDown. I was like, but it's 24/7.
Yeah.
So it should be on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So all of this was made very, very confusing as it was going on. Mm-hmm. But as a concept, they actually do it 24/7. And I think it could be awesome because now with the network, you could do like episodes of Ride Along, and you could just have someone come out of nowhere and pin R-Truth in a Ride Along episode, and have him like be a new champion on not even like a show of anything.
Right. Yeah, he can be doing an interview for another show, and all of a sudden he comes in, he gets clotheslined, and he loses.
Yeah, like he goes on Main Event, or when he's like, oh, I'm going to be champion forever. And someone just rolls him up and pins him real quick.
Exactly.
And now he's not champion. Now it's like, now you have to watch all of these shows almost to see what's going to happen.
Right.
I think this title could be an awesome way to bring people up now. If like you're like, even like Undisputed Era, if you're Adam Cole and you just kind of walk in and like pin the champion on SmackDown, you're like, no, I have to be on SmackDown. I can be on SmackDown.
And it is open to NXT stars, right? It's open to NXT guys, NXT UK, 205 Live. It's open to everybody. Yeah, so there's a lot of possibilities.
It's a great way to move people around without really like moving people around per se.
I agree.
Testing people out.
I think it allows to. It's almost like the thing to where, like, for house show business too. Seeing a title change. Yeah. Title changes don't happen very often nowadays, right? So when they do happen, it's a big deal. Yeah. Outside of pay-per-views especially. So like tag titles, Intercontinental title, whatever, they change hands on a Raw or SmackDown, you're like, oh crap, what I mean? Like, that was pretty cool. So to have this where it's like, oh my gosh, okay, now this guy's champion. Even like the first night, they had 3 champions, right? So the fact that you're able to see kind of, if we go to a Raw house show, it's here in Detroit or whatever, we go there, okay, we saw so-and-so become 24/7 champion, right? WWE title's on every show, is on every house show, right, usually, and it's never changes hands. But that kind of thing could, you know what I mean? It makes you never want to miss when WWE is in your town because you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think it adds, exactly, right? For whatever reason, So I think it allows people who maybe are, it gives people who don't necessarily have a main storyline something to do, right? It adds some comedic value. It makes you want to watch the entire show just to see what happens. The R-Truth thing that kept coming back, I think he's a perfect guy for them to use it because he's so funny, because he's entertaining. A guy that they could kind of build that around almost, where it's like, okay, he's a champion, he's going to do a lot of comedic skits, they catch him, they don't catch him. He's similar to Crash Holly, basically, is how you want to compare that to. So I'm very interested to see, kind of where they go with that.
Do you have any opinions on 24/7 title, Kyle?
Going off what you told me, I love the thought of it. Like, you're thinking that he's just chilling at wherever. Yeah. And he just gets 1, 2, 3, McGregor, and he's done. Other than that, I think it'd be, as a person who likes funny stuff, I think it'd be hilarious. I think
there's a lot of things you can do.
There used to be the hardcore title, they would fight at McDonald's, in a place set.
Yeah, guys going down a slide with the camera guys going down a slide with them.
I think of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the grocery store.
Yeah, in the grocery store.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could just be walking around buying groceries and some guy comes around and tries to pin him. It's funny comedic stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd find it hilarious.
Right, and I think you were allowing that, right? Where, okay, now we're going to post on YouTube, you missed this, whatever like that. So, oh my gosh, we got a new 24. Anytime you can theoretically have breaking news. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so, kind of keeps people in the forefront. I appreciate them at least trying. Obviously, I know people were upset that it wasn't the Hardcore Championship, but guys, it's PG. They're never going to be hardcore again the way you think it's going to be, okay? If you want that, watch AEW. They're TV-14. So, a little bit different. You know what I mean? So, there's obviously some compare and contrast. I'm interested to see how this progresses between both companies. We saw 2 big shows by them in back-to-back weekends, so it was nice to kind of see the product, and we're hoping, right, that because this AEW show went as well and it's been so well received, that WWE starts stepping up their game a little bit. And if that's the case, it's better for everybody, especially us as fans. I do want to make one quick announcement, though. This 24/7 rule thing, this 24/7 title, kind of gave me a bit of gave me some thoughts. So going forward, the I'm Always Right Championship is now 24/7.
So we got the first championship?
So, exactly. So, later in this episode, we're going to crown our first ever I'm Always Right champion. Emma had been walking around with it for a long time. I finally got it out of her hands so we could have it back on the show. That's why it wasn't here last week, is because she wouldn't give it to me. So we have it on the show. She hasn't been on the show in a few months now. So, we're crowning a brand new champion in the middle of the show tonight. So, be prepared for that.
I didn't even know
After the break, we're going to be talking Juwan Howard, the new Michigan coach. We're talking NBA playoffs and why the Warriors are awesome still. And we're talking some Lions, Darius Slay, Snacks, Harrison content. All of that and more after the break. Stick around. All right, and welcome back to part 2 of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast, episode 26. We're almost over a quarter way to 100. I don't know what we're going to do for the 100th episode. We got to do something super cool. I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe you guys will give me money or something. I don't know. It'll be fun.
Can I put Kyle in a filter or in a compactor and compact it?
I mean, if you want to commit murder live, I guess, but I don't know. This is probably going to get taken down by YouTube now because we're talking about this. That's fine. All right. Let's talk Juwan Howard, your new Michigan basketball coach. He's replacing John Beilein, former member of the Fab Five, assistant coach of the Heat, won a championship there. Has been interviewed for NBA coaching jobs. He's never coached college basketball before. LeBron, Dwayne Wade seem to be really thrilled. The rest members of the Fab Five seem to be really excited about it. And I have a little bit of a tidbit. I kind of want to throw some shade at Jalen Rose here for a second. But I want first, let's get your guys' thoughts on the hire. And do you think he's going to be able to recruit with his connection to the Fab Five? Kyle, let's start with you. Thoughts on Juwan Howard's coach, and then is the recruiting going to take a dip, or do you think it's going to stay the same or even better with him at the helm?
I think it was a pretty good hire. Other than like maybe a couple of the top of the line NBA coaches that you had a chance or didn't have a chance of hiring.
Right.
I think he was probably the best out of your group, except for maybe like Texas Tech's head coach.
Yeah.
Maybe if you got him. But
if he was going to leave, he may not just want to leave, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's the best you probably could have gotten. With the Fab Five connection, I think that's also going to help with recruiting. I think you're going to have pretty much better recruiting going forward, but then the lack of coaching experience is where you're going to get hurt. But I think recruiting-wise, I know they've lost a couple. They've gained a couple back.
Of course.
But I think through the years, recruiting-wise, you're going to be getting some bigger names with the Fab Five connection. But I'm just worried about how the team will do. With
I think one thing that's going to be imperative for Juwan Howard is the ability to hire some good assistant coaches, right, and to be able to hire a guy who is been a head coach at the college level before. I agree with you. Like when Juwan Howard first got hired, ESPN was like Fab Five all day, just showing like those are the kind of things that high school athletes are looking at, like, oh my gosh, like this is on ESPN all the time. You know what I mean? I can go play for this. I'm going to get some publicity, right? And winning, that's the other thing. And we're going to talk about Michigan's upcoming season in a second. But Mike, same question to you. Thoughts on the hire, and do you think recruiting takes a dip?
I thought it was a good hire. I think recruiting is about the same as what Beeline was there.
Yeah.
The Fab Five connection really helps.
Yes.
But you haven't seen him coach yet.
Right. I think it kind of masks that a little bit, right?
That's kind of the problem is after this first year, you'll see if they have a 500 record or something, and you're going to go, well, you can't coach.
Right.
And then that's going to be your problem trying to get guys here is, hey, come play for Michigan. Hey, you can't coach.
Yeah.
That could be a big issue that you have.
Right.
Whereas Beeline wasn't like the biggest name out there, but Beeline could coach his
butt off. And he won stuff.
Right. So I guess it's going to really long-term be the success over just being known as like the Fab Five guy or whatever.
I agree with you. So, I think he may get a pass this first year just because they lost 3 starters, like right off the bat, right? Poole's gone, Matthews is gone, and Iggy's gone, right? Yeah. So he's not coming into the best situation. People say, oh, he's got Teskey, he's got Xavier Simpson. I'm like, yeah, but those guys, they're not the same, right? Like, I'm sorry. Xavier Simpson is a liability offensively. He is, really. Like, he can't shoot the basketball.
You can only do a hook shot.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But it's really like playing. You wonder why Michigan's offense becomes stagnant at times because you're really playing 4-on-5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to have somebody like that. Regardless, I like the hire of Juwan Howard. I know some people weren't as high on it because they thought it was a safe hire because he's a Michigan guy. That's why they hired him. They didn't. I'm like, but if you truly believe that NBA people were gonna, I know it's a different game. However, if you're able to use that connection to the Fab Five and use the fact that, okay, I've coached in the league. I've won as an assistant in the league. I was up for jobs for the NBA, right? I think that's a good selling point. I do want to make a quick mention, though, about Jalen Rose, because Jalen Rose went on First Take and a couple of shows and we're like, oh, this puts all the beef away for the Fab Five between me and Chris Webber and all these other things. It's going to bring us all together because we're not going to want to bring that drama to Michigan. And my only concern with that, well, first off, great, cool, but also, who the hell cares? And why I say that is, it's not about the Fab Five anymore. Your time is done, right? It's about Juwan Howard now. It's about Juwan Howard's ability to lead this team. I don't care about Chris Webber. I don't care about Jalen Rose. I don't care about their beef. That has nothing to do with the quality of job that Juwan Howard is going to do. You want to support the guy? Cool. But Juwan Howard's hiring at Michigan has nothing to do with Chris Webber or Jalen Rose. So I found that a little bit alarming to see, like, you're trying to make this more about yourself and about an issue that no one really gives that many craps about anymore to a situation where it's like, it's out of the realm. I get it. You're all part of the Fab Five. And I'm glad that you guys are going to be there to help recruit. Totally cool. But I don't care whether or not you squash your beef. I don't care about any of that because the reality of Juwan Howard, like you said, if he can't coach and this team goes sub 500 next year, we got bigger problems than Chris Webber and Jalen Rose arguing over, who likes what sandwiches. Okay? I'm just not about that. Give me your expectations for him, though, year one, Juwan Howard. Is it attorney bid? Is it keeping the status quo? Do you expect them to compete for Big Ten championship? Give me just like bare bones, like give me a line where they got to get to.
My line is have to be top 3 in the Big Ten East. have a decent Big Ten tournament run.
Yeah.
Not expecting a win the first year.
Yeah.
Get 1 or 2 games in. Win a game or 2.
Yeah.
And then enter the tournament and try to do some good stuff in the tournament.
Do you think
I would say a good spot would be Sweet 16, maybe getting to the round of 32, depending on who you play.
I can get that. Right.
I would say that was a really good
tournament bid. Right, losing some starters, right? So having to reload and getting to the tournament and winning a game in the tournament.
Yeah,
I feel
because I don't think they'll be a 1, 2,
no,
3, 4
they're not.
seed.
They're not.
They're probably going to be more like an 8, 9 seed.
Yes.
And when you're looking at that, then you're playing, a Seton Hall or something in the first round. If you can get through that, and then you'll probably play a Kentucky or something. Or
right, and then you lose there.
You actually, it's a respectable.
Right, I think it's a fair assessment for what you have currently on the roster. Kyle, same question. What's your line? Where do they need to go? Is it a tournament win? Is it NIT? What is it
Bare bones. Bare bones. I think they should at least get a little run in the Big Ten tournament. Mm-hmm. And as far as the big tournament is, not the Big Ten. The tournament is
64-man tournament.
Yeah. As far as that tournament is concerned, I feel like they can compete. I wouldn't expect much past the round of 32. Mm-hmm. I feel like they get a win in maybe 2, but. I forgot to state this, but even though he has no coaching experience, we what if he can coach out of his mind? And
no doubt, for sure. I mean, he's got to be. He's sure he has some type of coaching experience because a lot of guys are really excited that he got hired. So
I'm just saying, obviously we don't know yet, but if he has a good, I know we've lost players,
all of a sudden,
but
oh shit,
if he can coach, then. I could definitely see Michigan going much.
Listen, if you coach,
I'm just talking minimum. All right, if the season goes the worst possibly it can go, where I don't feel like, oh my gosh, we got the wrong guy. Yeah. What's the worst that could happen for you? You're I don't feel like a tournament bid is that hard to obtain at Michigan. You know what I mean? So if you don't make the tournament next year, that's a massive step back. Yeah. I get you lose 3 starters.
If you lose first or second round of the Big Ten tournament, then you're
exactly. Yeah, I mean, okay.
And then to your point, if you can coach like Beeline can coach or better, then you're all set because you can recruit probably better than Beeline can. And then if you can coach up to Beeline's level or better, then you're in a fantastic situation.
Absolutely.
But then your stakes go up. You should be getting Final Fours at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where you
get a little sketchy. Yeah. I'm with you for sure. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I do think it was a bit of a safe hire, but once again, let's see how it plays out. Yeah. It doesn't hurt to get a guy that's a Michigan man, but
I would say he probably would have been my 3rd option or 4th option probably. Yeah. But knowing that the first 2 or 3 probably weren't even available anyway.
Right.
Billy Donovan from OKC probably wasn't even available, or the Texas Tech guy.
Yeah.
If those 2 aren't available, he's probably the guy I would have done anyway.
For sure. All right, let's shift now from the college ranks. Let's go to the pros here. I basically said it straight out. I thought the Bucks were going to win by 5. Clearly, that did not happen. As the Raptors 1-6, so color me embarrassed. But with that being said, we got the Warriors. We got Toronto. It's the weirdest matchup ever, but it's cool. I want you to call it before anything happens right now. I'm going to start with you. Who you got?
Definitely Warriors.
Okay. Warriors and how many?
Warriors and 5.
5? Warriors and 5?
If it was Bucks, I could see it going to 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. But I just don't. I mean, I'm probably super wrong. It'll probably
it's Toronto and 3. How did that happen?
that's Warriors.
They just eliminated a game altogether.
They gave up. But no, unless the Bucks were in it, I don't really see how this works unless Kawhi wants to play out of his mind. But if he plays over 30 minutes and he starts but maybe Drake could save them. I don't know if he signs up for the team.
He just keeps touching people on the sidelines. It's inappropriate. It's fine.
He touches ball
call. Mike, same question. Warriors, Raptors, what game? Who you got?
I'll go against the grain for a minute here.
Okay.
I'll go Toronto in 6.
Wow.
Maybe
they do have home court.
They do home court.
7 with buzzer beater by Kawhi.
Yes.
Talk about
that. Yeah, that would be amazing. I say that. Hopefully, it's sad to say, I hope KD comes back, because I think when KD comes back, ball movement, everything's just going to get all whack. Mm-hmm. And I do think Kawhi, even though you do say after 30 minutes he looks winded as crap, he also did go on a 17-0 spurt by himself against the Bucks to bring him into contention to eventually win that game.
Right.
So when you're able to do that, he is the closest thing to LeBron level that there is in this playoff right now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even, debatable right now. He's by himself putting up, 35, 40 points a game kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's really carrying Toronto.
Yeah, it's looking a lot like last year's Cavs team with LeBron, except Toronto has a way better supporting cast.
Oh, for sure.
Meaning, I do think if they could steal a few games, is what I'm really betting on here.
Right.
Is if you can make it a 3-game series.
Do you think game one is a tipping point either way? Do you think like if the Warriors come in and blow them out by 15?
No, I don't think that really impacts. Well, because you saw the Bucks do it too.
Right.
I feel like
no, but the difference being though it's in Toronto though, right? Because Toronto has home court, right? So if the Warriors go into Toronto game 1, beat them by 15, even if Toronto evens the series at 1-1, going to Golden State, then do you think they survive like that?
It makes it a lot tougher. They don't win game 1,
right?
Because then going into the Warriors, if you lose both Warriors ones, you're down 3-1, and mathematically odds are you're very low. Only one team really can do that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we get it. You like LeBron. He's not in the playoffs. Okay, he missed the playoffs.
He did miss the playoffs,
and now nobody will watch the finals.
Good Lord, nobody wanted to watch him get swept again anyway.
No, I didn't want to watch him get swept.
Okay,
I love J.R. Smith for that.
It's fine.
He
didn't know that he thought they had the lead. It's fine. Anyway, so all right, so you got Raptors in 6.
I'll take Raptors in 6.
Right.
Wouldn't be shocked if it goes to 7, but
I got Warriors in 6. I think Toronto puts up a fight early. Then I think the steal from Golden State early on, and I think it goes back and forth a little bit. I think each team steals one from each other.
I do too. I think this ends up being a 3-game series.
Yes.
I think it's 2-2, Game 5.
Right.
And then I think Game 5 is the most important game of the entire series. Because if the Warriors take Game 5, they'll take Game 6.
Yes.
If Toronto takes Game 5,
Warriors take Game
6, and then it could reach 7.
Right.
It's kind of like where I'm feeling it
For
right
sure.
now.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm very interested to see. I want to talk about this, though, a little bit. 2 things. I want to first ask you, is this the last time, the Warriors now, this is their 5th straight finals, right? And is this the last time we're ever going to see such a dominant team? Now, LeBron went by himself, right?
Yeah, but he didn't go to a single team.
Right. So, with that being said, is this the last time we're ever going to see dominance by one organization, Patriot-esque, I guess is the best way of putting that, ever? Like, it's a perfect storm for the Warriors, right? Salary cap increases. Kevin Durant becomes a free agent. Is willing to take less money to come there. You drafted Steph. You drafted Clay. You drafted Draymond. You're able to sign Iguodala. You know what I mean? There's a lot of perfect scenarios that happen for this Warriors team to get where they're at, right? Not hard work aside, right? Just the framework of the team.
Yes.
So with that, are we ever going to see something like this again? Ever.
I have my answer. Kyle, you go first.
I think.
Unless you don't have.
Hi.
Good morning. After the Warriors finally diminish and Steph Curry gets old and they lose all these players.
They get old.
Because they never get old there.
Right.
I don't know if they will, but once that team kind of diminishes, I feel it's probably gonna be a while until you see another team that can just draft.
I'm not saying be dominant. I'm saying 5 straight finals. You're going to win now 3 in a row, more than likely, right? Let's just say they'd win this one, right? Yeah. Win 3 in a row, 4 out of 5, right? And that's just as of right this moment. They could still do more. So I'm not saying even dynasty 2 out of 3 in a row. I'm talking straight finals. Put them in. They're in there every time.
It's probably be years, maybe decades, but I feel like if a team can get lucky enough to draft that many great people, I feel like you will see it, but it's going to be a lot more difficult and a lot more just time. It's just going to be a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you think about it, they got so lucky with 2 of the greatest shooters of all time. Draymond, who's
for
defensively
sure.
great.
Falling in the second round. I get it. That's what I'm saying. So it's so hard to think about how this team got put together in the first place. Yeah. So I'm the same question. I mean, are we ever going to see this again?
We'll never see it again, and here's why. You come in, and the league, up to the point of 2015, 2014, was, big men getting to the rim, and attacking the rim and scoring.
Right.
Now, with the Warriors' evolution of the game, now you're going into the 3-point range. I take it as 3s are better than 2s, is how I look at the game. So the Warriors found out with their best shooting ever, with adding KD and all that, you just added so much 3-point shooting and so much spacing of the court that you're able to do this. I don't think can be repeated because every other team now is transitioning to it.
Right.
The Warriors were the first one to like start it up, and that's why they're
the best at it.
Yeah, and they're the best at it. So they got up to this. It's like a race where you got like a 50-meter advantage, and now you're just running, and you're like everyone else is following you, trying to catch up, but you're just so far ahead. They thought of this idea, they got these shooters, and now they got to this point where no one else was at, and by the time everyone's shifting over, they're already the best at it.
Right.
Now, like, say when the Warriors diminish, and say whoever, the Rockets, are the next best shooting team or whatever, now there's 15 other teams in the league that are also top-tier three-point shooting teams.
Right.
And it's never going to go back to, let's dish it into the paint and score in the paint because threes beat twos, and eventually you'll go down by 15 and you have to shoot threes.
Right.
So, with that being said, I don't think there's a way that any other team can do this because by the time the Rockets or even like the Pistons get a great three-point shooting team, everyone else is going to be great at three-point shooting.
Right. That's a great way to look at it. It really is because, like you said, it's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Right. That we're seeing right now. It's a historic run, really, that we're seeing. You know, I mean, this era of basketball is seeing not only probably the most dominant team, right, individual
really
team in a successive streak. Right. Even the Bulls had 2 years off when Jordan was gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, they had 3 and 3. But outside of that specific thing, and obviously the Celtics in the 60s, where there was only 10 teams in the league as a whole, you have never seen this before. You know, and along with the fact that you've seen, you know, the greatest player of this generation as well with LeBron doing what he's doing, individual success, team success, it's crazy that you're seeing all this kind of all in the same time. I want to shift now a little bit from Warriors-Raptors talk I want to talk about the Bucks for a second. They lose in 6. Giannis probably more than likely going to be the MVP, if I had to guess, this year, right?
Yeah,
I know you don't
probably.
like the way the MVP's set up, but he's probably going to be the MVP. So if we pencil that in for now, they lose in 6. They were up 2-0. They blew that lead, and you're right. And he goes out in his press conference, throws a little bit of a fit, leaves the press conference. You know, doesn't say a whole lot, doesn't answer. This is the price of being a superstar, right? Yeah. Everything's great when you're dominating and it's going your way, right? When you're beating the Pistons by 35 and you're putting up 49 points a game in a series, everything's fantastic. You're happy, happy joy. When you blow a 2-0 lead to a team that you should have been better than, and now you're out and you cannot face the music, right? I think he's finally understanding that a little bit. How does Giannis bounce back, and do you think he is reacting appropriately to what just happened? I get you're pissed. I understand that. But being pissed and acting like a professional and standing up and saying, listen, we didn't get the job done, those are two different things.
I think there's one thing that LeBron, everyone can knock him, is amazing at, is when they lose, he goes, I didn't play good enough.
Right.
Like, he will openly, like the Warriors, he loses, that game 1, and he's mad at JR for whatever he did. George Hill didn't make that free. All that stuff happens. He goes, our team just has to come out and play better. Like, that's the bottom line. And I think Giannis really needs to, take this summer and just go, take that into consideration. I didn't play my best, and they can't win without my best. Yeah. And he's just going to have to learn it. I think there's a lot of superstars that have that problem. I think, and it's a tough thing to get over, being one of the best players, winning 65 games or whatever, and then losing in the conference finals. They didn't even make the finals as the best team, as the overwhelming favorite. But I think it's a bad look for him right now, and
I just don't think it's appropriate. I get it. I understand. You're frustrated. You're mad. You're angry. You're upset. You're disappointed. All the emotions. I totally understand. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you're a professional athlete. You're supposed to be the best in the world, right? You're the MVP, quote unquote, right? You're one of the best. Okay. You're the favorite. You're the number 1 seed. You had home court advantage. You lost that, and you then decided, okay, I'm not going to answer questions because I'm upset. I understand it, but you can't do both. You can't love everybody and be like, this is great when everything's going awesome, but then also say, and come out, like the James Harden give me a chance thing all over again.
You want me to pinpoint this exact situation in football?
Yeah.
Cam Newton, Super Bowl 50.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Boy, you're just going to right. And you're happy. He's doing the Superman.
He wins every game by 30, and then you lose in the Super Bowl, and you're like...
Right. Yeah, I don't want to talk about nothing.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. I want to mope, I want to cry, I want to do all these things. It's not a good look, man. No. It's not. You need to...
Almost like grow up.
Same question to you. How does he bounce back, I guess? Give me that. How does Giannis bounce back from this? He's got to come back better. Their team is going to be pretty much intact for the most part, honestly. I don't think anybody's going to be a free agent this year, I don't think.
Not that I know of.
I'm worried that they're going to pay Chris Middleton a ton of money, but that's Milwaukee fans' problem. How do they bounce back? How do the Bucks and Giannis bounce back? Because it's a combination, but it's how do they bounce back?
So going back to Giannis and just leaving the press conference, I get it. He's a new up and coming superstar.
Yeah.
But you're gonna win the MVP, and no matter who's guarding you in this series, no matter if it's Kawhi, he's not the MVP. He's not in the running for MVP. I get he's great defensively, but you're supposed to win this MVP.
Right. You're supposed to be the more dominant player. Right. For sure.
And when there's a difference when LeBron puts 50 up in game 1 and they lose, and he says, "That's on me. That's on us.
Right.
We should have won that."
Right.
And when you put up 10 points. And then you stand up and leave.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It makes it look even worse.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't try and mope about it, and then when you're actually playing, you do nothing. Yeah. Regardless of Kawhi's guarding you, you're 2 times as big as him.
Right.
And
and I also think too. I think Toronto, they just look like they wanted it more. Honestly, like in all honesty, right? I just felt like
I think the Bucks
Kawhi willed them a little bit, no doubt.
The Bucks fed into. Yeah, you guys are probably going to win this way too much. Where they're like, we could kind of sag off and do whatever.
They're going to win one in Toronto. We knew that, and then in Team 2. And then, oh my gosh, they just beat us in Milwaukee now. Oh crap, now
they almost started playing in Game 6. Yeah. Not even the first 5 games. Mm-hmm. And if they would have played hard out through the whole thing, they probably would have won in 5.
Right.
Well, it's almost lackluster. But anyway.
Go ahead.
And who did they play in the last series? I forgot who they played.
Milwaukee?
Bucks, yeah.
They played the Celtics.
Yeah.
Celtics. So they lost 5 or whatever.
Yeah, when they lost game 1, he says, we're going to come back, we're going to play stronger. And they did.
Right, and for sure. And they responded.
Yeah, they responded. And he said the same thing after they lost to Toronto. And he said, we're going to come back, we're going to dominate. And then when you do nothing about it, and you go, and then you just get up and leave, you know how, you're going to win the MVP, but you're going to look awful.
Right. I don't think, too, I think you have a responsibility as a professional athlete, especially as high profile. And now, it's not talking about him as a person, right? I think he's a nice person.
No, I think he's awesome.
I mean, off the court and everything. But you have a responsibility as a ambassador of the league, because you're going to be the MVP more than likely, that to show proper sportsmanship. You know what I mean? This is no longer an era where you can swear on camera and people are like, yeah, I get behind that. It's not like that anymore. It's you need to show an example of, I lost. I need to accept that, right? We're always going to bring up LeBron here because LeBron is the sterling example of what a superstar has to be in a lot of cases. Not that he's not probably an a-hole in real life, because I think he is a little bit, but at the same time, I think he's at least embraces the fact that when he messes up, he sucks it up and he goes, yeah, it's on me. You know what I mean? That's what he needed to do here. Yeah. He needed to go, I didn't play good enough.
Do you think that they should change, and I'm talking about all sports as a totality, that maybe you should do a post-game, not even a post-game, but wait a day to do an interview with them? Because, tell me that, you lose, if you're the Sixers, and you lose in a buzzer beater in Game 7, and then right at, minutes after you have to go to a press conference.
Right, and you get a whole bunch of guys asking, so what happened?
Yeah, what happened? And you're like, he made a shot that was a lucky shot.
Honestly, that would be a bad idea.
Moving, if Giannis had a day to, rest and to think about, what do I have to say and stuff, and then going into the day after press conference, I feel it helps superstars and just helps everyone out with their answering and stuff. Because just Cam Newton losing Super Bowl, how he did and stuff, and then just 5 minutes, hey, you have a press conference to go to right now.
Right.
It just kind of
I get it.
It's hard to just walk in.
I understand, but I think a perfect example of somebody who handled that with class and he annoys the hell out of me is Sean McVay. Sean McVay went in there and he went, I got out coached. They were better than us, right? And I can tell you exactly what happened, right? He was bummed out about it, no doubt, right? But I thought he is a perfect example of somebody who handled it the right way, and it's you know what? I get it.
Even a Pete Carroll, after he threw that pick, the interception, he was like, we tried it and stuff. But if you give him a day to let it sink in and stuff, then maybe you get better. answers or whatever.
All right, let's shift out from beating up Giannis for a second. Congrats on the MVP, by the way. I'm sure you're going to be cool looking. I hate that trophy, but it's fine. I want to talk Lions here just for a second here. Both Darius Slay and Snacks Harrison, they have not been at OTAs. They were not at OTAs last week or the week before that. They've yet to report. It's not a huge deal. They're all voluntary, obviously, right? Snacks wants a new deal. He's already approached Detroit about getting a new deal. Slay has two. They both have 2 years left on their contracts, respectively. I just want to talk about this real briefly here. Should the Lions be motivated to lock up both sides or both guys? And two, what are the numbers, right? Do you want to see a 2-year extension, 5-year extension? What do you want to see from both these guys? Slay is around 28 years old. Snacks is going to be 30, I think, coming in, or 29, 30 at this point. Like I said, they both still have 2 years left. This is the new way of the NFL, where it's a sooner. Like I want to get my extension done before my last year of my contract, which I don't necessarily hate. I would wish they would show up still, but I understand at the same point, you got to make the most money as you can. Michael, I just want to start with you real quick. Just give me, should they extend them both? And two, what kind of numbers do you want to see?
I think Darius is a bigger need for them to keep on their path than Snacks is. Mm-hmm. I think you really have invested your D-line a lot. So if you didn't, I think it's like not the end of the world if you didn't get Snacks Harrison back.
Right.
However, I think Darius Slay, being 28, wanting an extension, I think.
Okay, they still have 2 years.
He does have 2 years.
Still 2 years on both deals currently, right? Yes. Now, this year and next year.
But you're ending, so hypothetically, your contract ends for Slay at 30. Mm-hmm. How much production can you get in 3 to 4 years after 30 as a corner?
Right.
And that's the biggest question, because Richard Sherman is over here getting a little older, and you see him start deteriorating about 30, 31-ish.
Yeah. He was cut.
And all this stuff. So now you're looking at Darius Slay, and you're going, he's almost like last year wasn't his best year either, where he almost looked like he was showing signs of decay already, and that's very nervous if you're the Lions fan, as maybe you don't want to extend him right now because you want to see how this year holds up, and if he starts declining even more, do you want to?
It's a risk, right? It's an absolute risk. It's a risk to have that, right? So. I mean, so are you saying you'd rather have Slay? What you want, like a 2-year extension? So
I would go 2 year, have 4 total more years with him. He gets up to about 32, and then at that point you can make the decision.
So the way I would think they would do that is there's a raise too that comes along with it. So I think that you bump him up to around $13-14 million a year, which would get him right around the 7th ranked corner, highest paid corner in the league, I think, right now, as it stands right now, which is what he was at the end of the year. Snacks, same thing. So Kyle, same question, is if there's a guy, like, do you rather have Snacks or Slay, right? Or should they just extend both? And then give me, how many more years you'd like to see them extended, if at all.
I think with Darius Slay, I wouldn't have a problem, like, right now extending him with a 2-year contract. Like Michael said, you obviously are seeing, like, some deteriorating. It wouldn't be bad to wait this year to see how he performs this year, and then seeing if you should extend him or not. But I feel like the one who you should really wait to see is Snacks. Yeah. I know he's still like a force, but he's really going to get there up in age. And in 2 years, are you really going to want to extend him if he starts declining then? So I feel like I don't have a problem with extending Darius Slay now. I should wait for Snacks, see how he performs this year. If they still have if he's still good on that D line, then I wouldn't have a problem extending him.
I think I'm glad that they're opening the conversations now. Right, it's obviously a risk where if he's not there, there could be some problems. But with that being said, I agree with you. I think Slay is more pressing. However, Snacks does change that defense, and it does change how they operate. He's the Vince Wilfork of this defense. Yes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them extend both of them. At least another year, maybe another 2 years, right? Give them a bit of a raise in between there, and kind of roll with it, right? As long as it does not impact the team in order to